We come to the final presentation by Marius Nistorescu about the capacity building in the SaveGREEN project. Marius.
Thank you. So the presentation is about one important activity that we have in the SaveGREEN project. If you want to find out more about the project, this is the roll-up, and we also have the web page there in the right corner of the presentation. This is about some activities that part of them we already conducted, some are under development, and the last one, which is the training, will be done in November. So, I would love to tell you a Transylvanian story, but I will resume to the experience we have on the infrastructure project in Romania mainly, but I'm pretty sure that you will find some similarities in your countries, most probably particularly in the East Europe. So, I tried to make this life cycle of the project as simple as possible. So we have here the plan and program, of course, plans and programs for transportation. Then is the feasibility study stage, the project stage, execution, operation, and etc. And we have a lot of stakeholders engaged in this process. The one with this yellowish color are, let's say, the one that we are targeting with the capacity building program. So it's the transport authority, project owners like road companies, railway companies, yes, then engineering companies, construction companies, environmental experts, and not the last, environmental authorities. Why? Because each stage of this life cycle have different problems. The first one, the plans. I can tell you about the problems 2 days long, but I will stick to the main ones, which is that every time, and for us, actually we are trying to finalize the environmental assessment for the National Transportation Operational Program. This is the second time we do this, because we did something similar 6 years ago. And always is the same problem. We have a wish list instead of a program. I mean, we have a list of projects. Sometimes you don't know where these projects will be located. Sometimes everything you have, it's the first city and the last city. So the project can be anywhere, you know. We have separate approach for roads and, of course, separate approach for railways. So you may do some alternatives work on the roads, but you never mix roads with the railways, which, of course, is not very smart, but we take this as it is. And of course, a lot of difficulties in the strategic environmental assessment, meaning that in Romania, we don't have yet officially designated ecological corridors. We had a lot of projects, a lot of maps, a lot of vectors, but nothing officially. We still have a ongoing process of mapping the habitats and species distribution. So again, it's quite difficult to do a unitary assessment on a national level. And of course, the assessment of conservation status at the national level is still on process. So you see, it's quite difficult from the beginning, and should be basically much easier to solve some problems here and not pass them in the next stages. Okay, for sure, I will not have the time to go into details here. But the thing is that the experience shows us that there are so many difficulties in all these stages. For instance, in the feasibility, we have plenty of difficulties in working with engineering companies. And, well, we have examples in which we have multinational teams, multinational companies. They have a very good, code of conduct in France or, I don't know, in Germany, but they have local employees in Romania, so the code of conduct is a little bit different. We don't have guidelines, we don't have too much preoccupation on how to solve the problems on the feasibility level. And then we have the difficulties related to the environmental impact assessment procedure, because we have a lot of projects which does not follow the full EIA procedure. So the environmental authority considers that those projects is not likely to have a potential significant impact. So the decision is based on some presentation memoirs who are not prepared by environmental experts. So if you are the guy with the keys here, the doorman, right? So if you are the doorman here in Romania now, you can prepare a documentation on which a decision to make a road can be taken. Okay, funny, no? So I mentioned technical guidelines, I mentioned lack of expertise within the environmental authorities. So we move to the project. Splitting the feasibility and the project phases usually results in making changes in the project after the environmental permit is issued. So we meet a lot, work a lot, decide a lot, and then we change. Yes. Okay. And this is happening also in the execution. And is even not smarter, stupider. What is the opposite? I mean, again, you have an environmental permit, you work a lot for the measures, but the constructors are thinking, why should I spend so much money on these measures? Can I do it with less effort or with less money? And they change the project. And they change the project without having the full EIA procedure again, just with a short one. Okay, I will not mention examples, but I have plenty of them. And then, of course, is the operation, where we have the biggest problem are related to the lack of maintenance for mitigation measures and a lack of adequate monitoring, I would say. And then a lot of other works and the changes in the project that, of course, was not previously considered. Okay, so this is the problem. What we are trying to do in SaveGREEN project within this capacity building component to provide a SCA and EIA toolkit for practitioners and other stakeholders, something simpler, easy to understand, easy to use, like Excel sheets or just tables that helps the practitioners to put the right idea in the right place. I will show you some examples. A handbook of best practices for maintaining ecological connectivity at the landscape level, and of course some training sessions that will be in November. As an example, this is a table, a supporting table for doing multi-criterial analysis on selection of alternatives for the projects. So there are some criteria, some indicators. And you can play with the importance ratio. Of course, there are some suggestions, but this can be adapted to the situation of each project. This is a bigger one. Sorry, it's not so visible, but it's another Excel tool to assess the permeability of the structures within a road project. So you have the first column here is with the sensitivity of the area, sectors of kilometers. What is the type of structure, bridge, so on. What are the obstacles within the underpass? What are the dimensions? Then you calculate the index of relative openness, and you have an assessment on functionality for large mammals, medium mammals, small mammals. And then we are assessing the frequency, if the frequency of these underpasses is sufficient or not. So there are some simple formulas that can generate yes, no. When you have a no, you go back and you can play by introducing another underpass or an overpass and so on. So it's a simple tool, but I think could be very efficient for the practitioners. This is something similar, but it's a tool to estimate collision rate and potential victims for different species. Simple formula, nothing complicated. Of course, the practitioner who needs to use this needs to read a little bit some literature before using it, but we only provide the tool. And the last one that I will show you is, let's say, an assessment table using to assess, for the appropriate assessment for Natura 2000 sites, is related to the last requirements of the European Commission within the last guideline published last year. And the requirement is to assess the impact at the level of each parameter of the conservation objectives. So this is a tool that helps the practitioners put all the data in the right place and make some estimations on the impact, provide the appropriate measure, and so on. Well, hope I fit. Thank you.
Thank you, Marius. Are there any questions? We still have some time now. This session goes until 30 minutes past 1. So we can also ask questions again that you may have thought about concerning the previous presentations. Lazarus.
It's not a question, but I would like to note what I like, because I'm involved in SaveGREEN and I have seen the work and it's really nice. I like very much the Excel that all the mitigation measures is in one page. And this gives to you the view of all the mitigation measures. And when you are making the EIA, it's very important to have the whole picture. Because sometimes we are focused on one impressive, let's say, mitigation measure. We are focused on a nice, perfect green bridge, and we never give the interest to the small culvert, to the small underpass, to other mitigation measures. So I think this tool, I like it, personally, I like it very much because of that. Because in one Excel sheet, you have all the road in front of you, and you can play of what do you want to improve, what you can make highlighted, and so on. And not only because of your view, but because the next slide, the next sheet is related with the species, with all the spectrum of biodiversity. So the combination, sorry, I like it very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Lazarus. Are there more questions? Yes? Yes, Elke.
you. Marius, a very practical question. I guess all the documents will be online after you finish the project. How about the training? Will the training be online or in person? And is there a possibility for interested people to take part in that or to view it later, or will that be online as well? Or
What I know for sure, I mean, all the documents will be available on the project webpage. This is the webpage, written with green. The workshop, the trainings will be in local language. I mean, there will be a workshop in Romania, one in Czech Republic, one in Slovakia, and so on. I don't know if we will have, but it's a very nice suggestion to have a video in English. Need to talk with the colleagues, but thank you for the suggestion.
Thank you very much. I think it's very good to have the trainings in the local language because it's so you don't have the language barrier.
Exactly.
But I like that you think and talk about maybe having something online that can be used by others and for other countries as well.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you.